continue with our coverage here at CPAC, and our next guest knows all about being canceled, being censored, and yes, even being arrested and confined to his house. Brandon Straka, founder of the Walk Away campaign and movement, which I think we'll get to that, how you started that. But my setup to you right now, you've been through it all, my friend. You have literally experienced the weaponization of our government.
I would say so. And I was jailed because I felt like you were kind of like, I'm not sure if you would. Oh, no. My journey with the United States Department of Justice began with the FBI beating my door down, putting me in handcuffs, and taking me to jail. And spent some time in jail, got out of jail, then learned that they were charging me with multiple felonies for being outside of the Capitol for 8 minutes on January 6th. And then ultimately, a year and some months later, I ended up on house arrest and many other things.
So walk us through that for people who may not know. Walk us through what happened on January 6th. What were you doing on that day?
Sure. And thanks for asking, because everyone's experience is a little bit different. You know, the left-wing media wants to make everyone believe that, like, everyone went to the Capitol to have an insurrection, like we all talked about this. I mean, everybody... I wasn't even on the same side of the building where people had been scuffling with officers and windows got broken, things like that. I was approaching from the east side because I was a scheduled speaker that day. And I actually got there pretty late. And by the time I got there, all the barricades had already been removed. Thousands of people were standing on the grounds. So I walked into the crowd of people. When I got there, there was a man shouting, "They've opened the doors. They're letting us in." So I walked over. I was like, that sounds interesting. I was filming a video. Walked up to the top of the stairs. When I got there, sure enough, the doors were open, and there was a crowd of people. Some of them were trying to push their way in. Most of them, like me, were filming a video. And I stood there for 8 minutes. A man came out of the Capitol after 8 minutes and said, "They've cleared Congress. Everyone leave." And I immediately turned around, left, uploaded my video to social media. Boom, 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 boom. And then it all...
How long after you uploaded your video to social media did you get that knock on the door?
2.5 weeks later. It was on the morning of Monday, January 25th. It's about 6 a.m. The FBI, a team of agents in tactical gear, I'd say about 8 or 9 agents in tactical gear, came into stormed my apartment, got me out of bed, put me in handcuffs, and a team of agents started collecting my computers, my iPads, my hard drives, my phones, putting them in bags, while the other 2 agents paraded me through my apartment, took me to jail.
What was going through your mind?
Go ahead.
Sorry, what was going through your mind?
I just couldn't believe it. Well, and it's funny because a lot of us, I didn't know any other J6ers back then, and it was probably well over a year later before I met anyone else who went through this. Now that I've met other J6ers, we've talked about that day and that experience, and all of us have the same thing where when they came and got us, we all had this thought like, oh, this is a misunderstanding. Like, and when I have an opportunity to explain this, everything's gonna be fine. I'll explain, I didn't go in the building, I didn't whatever. We didn't know back then that they don't want to understand. They don't want it to be okay.
That's it. Excellent point. No, but I was going to ask you, prior to that, you didn't receive a phone call or an email, and nobody reached out to you to question you. It was just the next thing you know, you're in handcuffs.
Yes, and I mean, the most aggressive and ridiculous way to come to my home, to come and get me, to your point, whether they contacted my attorney or not, which should have happened, they could have come and knocked on my door and said, "Hey, we have a few questions for you, and let's sit down and watch your video and ask why were you there." What happened instead was they took me off to jail, and while I was in jail, they released basically an 8-page press release to the media that said, Strzok thought this, Strzok said that, this was Strzok's intention, before they'd asked me a single question.
And do you think it's because the walk away and the whole movement that they knew who you were? You weren't just an anonymous man that lived in the state of whatever.
Correct.
You had a movement that they did not like.
Right. And that's not even just ego or speculation.
Correct.
I mean, they said that. It was clear in that 8-page press release that they put out while I was in jail. I mean, 2 or 3 pages of it were this guy started a movement for people to walk away from the Democratic Party. He's got a large social media following. He's got a lot of influence. He does events, and people are showing up to his events. So the whole point was, this is a scary person who is an organizer. He's an influencer, and he needs to be taught a lesson about objecting to the election results.
Yeah. And I first came across you, PragerU would share, Dennis Prager would share one of your videos, and of course I'd met you along the campaign way as well. You have been so effective to getting the message out that the Democratic Party has really left the average American.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate
I mean,
that.
you have done
I
a
appreciate
fantastic job at that.
Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. And I would say, to me, the secret of the success that we've had with Walkway is really two things. Number one, we take a pretty moderate approach. We don't go out of our way to be caustic or controversial or overly aggressive with people or shouting them down, making them feel stupid, because we understand. I mean, look, I believed all this stuff at one point, too. I was manipulated by the media just like all of these people on the left still are. And the other thing is that we don't tell people where to go. You know, what we say is, look, we understand you're being lied to, you're being manipulated, but this is a journey, not a destination. You don't need to walk away and become a Trump supporter or become a Republican. Your journey is your own. But we're here to support you as a community and help educate and guide you as you make the choice to leave the left.
Yeah. What was the issue for you that light bulb went off, that you said, wait a minute, that doesn't really make sense.
Right.
I've been told this. What is that?
Well, there were a number of things, but if I had to boil it down to one specific moment, it would be I voted for Hillary Clinton. Boo. That's usually when people boo. And so when Trump got elected, I was a mess. I mean, I was a mess. I was crying, freaking out, like
You were triggered.
screaming. I was beyond triggered. Yes, beyond triggered. And so I was kind of like ranting constantly on social media. And then in January of 2017, I went on Facebook and I said, you know, I'll never understand how you people could vote for a man who was capable of mocking a reporter in front of a cheering crowd. And that's when somebody reached out to me privately and she just said, look, I'm not trying to start a fight with you. I just want to know, have you seen this? And she sent me a link to a video entitled Debunking that Trump Mocked the Disabled Reporter, which showed very clearly how CNN and the left-wing media manipulated that moment to make me believe something happened that didn't happen. And that's what got the light going on for me, going, wait, how often is this happening? And it started a journey of research that 2-3 months later led to me walking away.
You're an American legend. You're
Yes.
a patriot. I'm telling you, because
Thanks,
if we
Brian.
had more people like you, and I've said this before, and this may kind of ruffle some feathers, this is an echo chamber in here. We all talk about how great we are to each other. It takes Brandon Strakas of the world to go out and tell it to people who think our fruit tastes bitter to them, and you try to convince them that this is a better way to live your life. We need more people like you telling the story. We can tell each other that we're great. We can do some data boys, and we're doing that. But we need to convince the other party
Right.
why they're wrong, and here's why, in a nice, polite way. At least try to
like
be.
how you were approached.
How
and
you
that's
were.
the way,
Exactly.
Because I tell people all the time, you know, if we were all alike and we all thought alike and looked alike, it would be a boring world that we lived in. But with it's the divide that is, we're in a political divide right now. We need to come together and work on our differences. And how she approached you is the way to do it. Look, I'm not trying to start an argument, but I think you should
love
look
the
at
way
this.
she did that.
Yes,
Me
and
too.
that's how it needs to be done.
Yes, I totally agree with you. And that's why we kind of emulated my experience when we created Walkaway, because the other thing that was very effective was she gave me the space to have that experience on my own, in my own time, and then come back to, you know, she didn't say, sit down with me and watch this because I want you to see how you're wrong. She just said, please watch this and let me know what you think about it. And it took me days, and I got back to her and I was like, this does not compute. But like eventually I was able to accept that I had been lied to.
Okay.
You know?
Give me some examples of people that come up to you that have walked away. What was it in the news cycle? What story that was debunked that people said, that's it?
I wish you literally it just happened a couple of minutes ago with these two ladies that were over here. But it's any number of different things. But I think most recently it's the COVID shutdowns.
Okay.
It's the BLM riots that were not really prosecuted and were swept under the rug by the left-wing media. And then into seeing what's happening now with Biden. People are very concerned about the illegal immigrant crisis. I mean, you know it's bad when the left is like, this is bad. The left is like, the illegal immigrant crisis is bad. And now you've got black mothers in Chicago, in Philadelphia, in New York City saying, like, my kids don't have a community center to go to anymore. My kids are no longer safe to walk around down the streets because crime is surging. They're getting it. You know, so there's all different reasons for different people. But here's the thing. I mean, I would never, if we could, there's hardly a silver lining to the last 3 years. But if we had to find one, it would be now people have seen 4 years under Trump and life under Biden. And now you get to contrast and compare. And most people are not feeling what's been going on the last few years.
Okay, let's fast forward to today. Your movement has grown. You've got a nice platform, a great medium to really share stories. So let's talk about that.
Sure. Well, okay, so Facebook banned the walkaway campaign on January 8th of 2021. We had grown to 511,000 people. We had tens of thousands of videos and written testimonials. So, I mean, it was just like overnight, boom, that was gone. So we are rebuilding now. We did launch our own app called Walkaway Social that people can join. We own it. It can never be taken away from us. I would encourage anyone to go to their app stores, whether you're an iPhone user or a Google Android user, Walkaway Social. And don't boo or jeer at me, but we did just launch a new Facebook group as well, because we do need to reach people everywhere we possibly can. I mean, it's so people can join our Facebook group. You can either search #Walkaway Campaign, or we made it really easy. If they go to joinwalkaway.com, they'll be redirected into our Facebook group. And please join. Everyone join.
What about TikTok?
We are on TikTok. We're kind of getting that off the ground. You know, we're a small team. We're doing the best we can. But yeah, we're on everything. We're on Getter, Truth Social, Twitter, X, whatever we're calling it.
I love it. Now, financial support, do you guys offer that? I mean, do you need that? Because people want to donate.
Yes.
Because it takes money to make all these apps go around, and I
Right.
definitely want people to have the opportunity to donate to you and your cause.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I'll say it's certainly much more than an app too. Next month we're launching our college campus tour. We're going to be going to Wisconsin, Michigan, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Ohio. Basically, a lot of battleground states will be taking our college tour, as well as a lot of minority-focused town halls. We're hitting this year really, really hard. If people want to support us, they can go to walkawayfoundation.org. We're trying to kind of launch a campaign where we're trying to get 10,000 patriots to give $5 a month in the year 2024. That's $5. What can you even get a stick of gum for $5 anymore?
So.
Forgo one stick of gum a month and support Walkaway campaign at walkawayfoundation.org.
There you go. I
And,
love it.
and before we wrap up, I just want to wrap up January 6th. Where are you at now in that legal battle?
So as of right now, I have 1 year of probation left. I ended up pleading guilty to a misdemeanor charge. Before people say, why would you do that? The DOJ has a 100% conviction rate on people who are going to trial in Washington, D.C. The writing was on the wall for me. I could either spend 7 years in prison in Washington, D.C., or I could take a misdemeanor plea deal and wear an ankle monitor for 3 months. So that's what I did.
You're fortunate that's all you got.
Yeah.
Really, you really are.
Yeah, no, what a crazy world we live in when you say I was fortunate for what I experienced. But you're right, it's true. So I also got 3 years of probation. So I have 1 year of probation left. And as long as they don't manufacture a crime within the next year, I should be good to go. And then I was also sued by a Soros-funded nonprofit out of D.C. representing 8 Capitol police officers trying to sue me for civil rights violations, but I won that lawsuit a few months ago. So after 2.5 years, I won.
Wonderful.
We had a win.
You have a. You
Love
have
to hear it.
You put points on the board.
Yes.
Donate to him if you can.
Please.
And help him with these legal lawsuits. This is an injustice. I know that Matthew Graves and really everyone down in the FBI and the DOJ. We need President Trump back in the White House.
Yes.
To just uproot all of those.
The whole
fools.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us. You're a
Good
busy
to
guy
see
here.
you.
You got a lot of people can identify with you. Keep up the good fight. I'm telling you, you're one of the best freedom fighters we have out there.
I appreciate that. And if I could just close out by saying to the audience at RSBN just how much I love and appreciate all of you, because you guys at RSBN have been so great to us at Walkaway for so many years. So thank you, and thank all of you out there.
All right, thank you so much. We'd love and appreciate you. Hey, we're going to take a quick commercial timeout. We'll be back here with continual coverage of CPAC.